Most people can either lose fat or perform well in training, but the real challenge is doing both at the same time. My entire job pretty much revolves around balancing these two goals and translating it into simple action points so my clients can actually follow the advice. And there are 5 key areas to address to achieve this goal. But before we jump in, if you want me to rate and review your diet and tell you exactly what to change to perform better, click the link below for your free performance nutrition blueprint. So the first point is your rate of weight loss. Now, how much weight you lose per week is going to dictate how much you can eat. And I recommend losing about half a kilogram per week for most people, or 0.5 to 0.75% of your body weight per week. Now, the reason for that is if you lose weight slower than this, it's pretty demotivating. The scale barely changes each week and it can be hard to find the motivation to stick with things. And if you lose weight faster than this, definitely more than like 1% of your body weight per week, the amount of calories you're going to have to consume in order to do that are going to be so low that you're just not going to be able to fuel your performance. You want to pace yourself. So think of it like running a marathon. If you go all out from the beginning, you're going to gas out and, quit within the first 5 miles. But also you don't want to start walking and never finish it because you end up just so bored and you haven't pushed it enough. Point number 2 is your pre-training nutrition. So what you're eating in that last meal or snack before your training session. In the final 1 to 4 hours before your session, you want to consume about 50 to 100 grams of carbs. And that's going to provide the energy you need to push the pace and hit that top 4th or 5th gear in training. That could be from cereal with low-fat milk, could be banana on toast or in a sandwich with honey, could be Greek yogurt with some muesli or granola and some fruit. But we want to prioritize faster digesting, which tend to be a little bit more sugary carbohydrates in this pre-training meal, so they don't sit super heavy in your stomach. You could have like 50 to 100 grams of carbs from sweet potato, but you're going to be so bloated and full during training that you're actually probably going to perform worse. So this specific pre-training scenario is actually where some sugary, easier digesting carbs like honey, cereal, or white bread can actually be beneficial because you can get the fuel you need without a bunch of fiber coming alongside it and sitting too heavy in your stomach. And as long as breakfast, lunch, and dinner are primarily based around whole, healthy foods, then some more sugary carbs pre-training are not going to impact your health negatively and they're actually going to benefit your performance. I remember chatting to a gym I work with about one of their amateur boxers. He would always start his fights super hard, super explosive, but in the second and definitely in the third round, he would gas out. He would just lose all the pop and the sharpness on his shots. And this is a classic sign of underfueling. So we looked at what he ate between the 4 to 6 hours. So he's an amateur boxer, so you got really like 4 to 6 hours between the weigh-in and the fight. And he was not consuming anywhere near enough carbs. So we added in some light, easy digesting carbs between the weigh-in and the fight. And it was a night and day transformation in his performance. His third round went from being his weakest round where he's gassed out to being his most dominant round. And all it took was some very simple, easy changes to his diet. Now, point number 3 is hydration. You want to make sure for most people about 2 to 3 liters of fluid per day. But I want to give you a framework to personalize that a little bit more to your body weight and your sweat rate. Because 2 people of the same weight, one sweats a lot, one doesn't sweat much, are going to need quite different daily fluid intakes. So as a baseline, you want to consume 35 milliliters per kilogram of your body weight. So take your body weight in kilograms times by 35. That's your daily minimum. And that could be on a rest day, for example, that would be a fine intake. But when you're training, you're sweating, you're losing fluid, so we need to replace that fluid in order to maintain fluid balance. So I recommend drinking back 1 to 1.5 liters per 1 kilogram you lose during training. So let me help you break this down with an example. Say you're a 70 kilogram person, you weigh yourself before and after a training session and you lose 0.7 kilograms. So let's set their baseline intake first. 70 times 35 is 2.45. We can round that up to 2.5. So daily minimum intake of 2.5 liters for the 70 kilogram person. And then you want to drink back 1 to 1.5 times that 0.7 kilograms they lost during training. So 0.7 to 1 liter. So take their baseline, 2.5 liters, plus 0.7 to 1 liters to replenish their training losses. This person needs to be consuming between about 3.2 to 3.5 liters per day, and just know that all fluid counts towards that, not only water. And if you're someone who's having a high carb diet, but your performance still doesn't feel like it's at its best, it might be hydration. I've had clients in the past where they've been eating loads of carbs and sort of confused why they're not performing at their best. And we digged into it a little bit deeper, and it turns out they're not consuming anywhere near enough fluid during the day. So even if you're optimally fueled, if you're not optimally hydrated, it can still massively reduce your performance. So make sure you're hydrating adequately. And if you're struggling to remember to drink, I always recommend carrying a water bottle with you throughout the day. It just serves as a nice visual reminder within arm's reach to remind you to drink and stay hydrated. Point 4, performance supplements. There are 2 simple and effective supplements that can boost your performance, and if you want to sound smart, you could call these ergogenic aids, which basically just means anything that improves your performance. And they are caffeine and creatine. For creatine, take 5 grams a day, don't load it, just take it every day. If you compete in combat sports and you have weigh-ins, then you could cut it out in the last 5 to 7 days before the weigh-in, just as a precaution. But apart from that, take it year round. It's gonna improve your strength, it's gonna improve your power, and there's some interesting research regarding the brain benefits as well. Things like improving your memory and also improving your performance on challenging brain tasks when you're sleep deprived. So creatine really is a no-brainer. Everyone should be taking it. Next is caffeine, and you can use this as a little performance booster or an energy booster when your life energy is a little bit lower. I recommend 200 to 400 milligrams about 1 hour before training. Now, you can use a caffeine pill, which is going to be the most reliable and easiest to achieve a high dose. You can use coffee, which is probably going to deliver a lower dose than that 200 to 400 milligrams. But to be honest, there is some evidence to say that lower doses can still offer a benefit. So it's down to personal preference. What I personally do is out of camp, I'll just have my normal daily coffees. And then in camp, where performance needs are a little bit higher, recovery is a little bit more of a struggle, then I'll use caffeine pills to get that more reliable, slightly higher dose there. But I just make sure I'm not redlining the caffeine intake year round. And caffeine can improve your aerobic and anaerobic performance. It makes exercise feel easier as well, so it allows you to push the pace a little bit more than you would be able to do otherwise. I recommend just see it as a little boost. Don't try to rely on it for every session, but I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't personally reliant on caffeine, so it's up to you. Fifth and finally, intra-training nutrition. Now, when I say intra-training nutrition, I'm pretty much referring to sports drinks like Gatorade, Lucozade Sport, Powerade, Pocari Sweat, anything like this. Now, there's no reason you couldn't consume it via food, but sports drinks are easy, convenient, and they're not gonna make you feel overly full like food might do. And you want to use these during sessions that are 90 minutes or longer. And the reason they are beneficial is that they provide an extra source of carbs. So if you imagine your muscles and your liver are a store of carbs, and when you're exercising, you're using the stores. Now, if you suddenly get some extra carbs coming in, you can save those stores for later. Use the carbs that are coming in, and then once they run out, okay, then you can dig into the stores. If you imagine it like your bank account, it's like topping it up with some cash to pay your bills so you don't have to go digging into your savings. And a real good indicator of being someone who will benefit from intra-training carbs is that maybe that first hour of training, you perform pretty well. And then once you get 60, 70, 80 minutes, your performance just drops off and you can't sustain that pace. That is an indicator that you're starting with enough carbs, but they're running out towards the end of the session. So adding in a Lucozade Sport or a Gatorade during your session is going to allow you to keep that 4th or 5th gear, pushing it hard throughout the whole session. Okay, to summarize things, make sure your rate of weight loss is on point. Make sure you have adequate pre-training nutrition. Make sure you've got a hydration strategy. Use some performance supplements for a small boost, and don't neglect intra-training nutrition. Remember, get your performance nutrition blueprint. Link will be below. I also have a one-to-one nutrition and training program where I work with clients one-on-one to help them do exactly the title of this video, lose fat without sacrificing training performance. So if that is your goal, click below and have a little read about my coaching program. Also, if you happen to be a fighter, I have a fighter nutrition course where I'll teach you everything you need to know about year-round performance, fight camp nutrition, weight cutting, refueling after the weigh-in, and post-fight nutrition, all in one comprehensive course. And if you enjoyed this video on how to lose fat without sacrificing training performance, watch this video. It will teach you how to balance your sports training with your strength and conditioning training.